Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Couple of days of crime drama coming up here on the program, as we're going to have today Dragnet, Suspense, the FBI in Peace and War, Gangbusters, and Mr. District Attorney. And we thank you for making us a part of your day on this sure happy it's Thursday, 28th day of December, 362nd day of the year. We have just 3 days remaining till we get to New Year's Eve. 1832, John C. Calhoun became the first vice president of the U.S. to resign to enter the Senate, where he had more power. 1846, Iowa admitted as the 29th state of the Union. 1869, William E. Semple of Mount Vernon, Ohio, patented chewing gum. Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? Yeah. The first municipally owned streetcars took to the streets in San Francisco in 1912. In 1945, Congress officially recognized the Pledge of Allegiance. It would be a few more years before they add the words "under God," which should have been there in the first place. 1981, the first American test tube baby, Elizabeth Jordan Carr, born in Norfolk, Virginia. Also on this date in 1981, the HBO pay cable television service expanded its schedule offering to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When you heard that, you knew the good stuff was coming. HBO had been operating on a part-time basis since 1972. In 1981, a new host for the daytime version of Wheel of Fortune.
And now, here's your new host, Pat Sajak.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack Clark. Morning, everyone. Welcome to Wheel of Fortune. Please do not adjust your sets at home. Chuck Woolery has not shrunk. A lot of people are playing with a vertical hold right now. As Jack mentioned, my name is Pat Sajak, and I've been fortunate enough to wander onto the set of a very successful program, has been for a long time. One of the big reasons for that success, of course, was Chuck Woolery. Most of you know by now, Chuck has decided to leave the show to concentrate on other areas in his career. He's a very talented actor and singer and songwriter. So I want to take a minute, and I know everyone in the studio does, and all his fans around the country, to wish Chuck nothing but the best for future success and happiness. Chuck, this is for you. And now, I'd like to announce that I'm leaving the show. No, just...
42 years, and Pat Sajak getting ready to wrap up his career with that. Sajak replacing Chuck Woolery, who had hosted the show for the first 6 years. Now, in 1984, The Edge of Night, a long-running daytime American soap opera, ended after a 28-year run, 7,420 episodes. In 1995, CompuServe set a precedent by blocking access to sex-oriented news groups after being pressured by German prosecutors. It was bogus. It turned out that they were blocking anything that remotely had the term sex in the title, which was stupid. In 2000, retail giant Montgomery Ward announced it was going out of business after 128 years. Somebody else is operating a mail-order business using the same name now. And in 2005, an immigration judge ordered John Demanjanjuk deported to the Ukraine for crimes against humanity committed during World War II. Passing away on this date in history, Uncle Charlie and My Three Sons, William Demarest, the Beach Boys, Dennis Wilson, film director Sam Peckinpah, TV's Lone Ranger, Clayton Moore, passing away on this date, Law & Order's Jerry Orbach as well, writer Susan Sontag, Debbie Reynolds, passing away on this date, days after her daughter passed away. Actress, comedian Rose Marie, passing away on this date, and Football Hall of Famer John Madden. Let's see. Birthdays on this date include President Woodrow Wilson, Earl Father Hines, actor Cliff Arquette, Charlie Weaver. We remember him well. Also Lou Ayres, pop staples of the Staple Singers, comics Stan Lee, born on this date, singer Dorsey Burnett, the Box Tops, Alex Chilton, and Lieutenant Uhura, Nichelle Nichols, who passed away last year at the age of 89. Now,
hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
I knew you'd want to get your nose in here. British actress Maggie Smith turns 89 today. Musician Edgar Winter is 77. Also, French pianist Richard Clayderman is 70. Denzel Washington turns 69 today. Late Show host Seth Meyers is 50. Mr. Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, is 45. From Factory Girl and Stardust, Sienna Miller is 42, and singer David Archuleta is 33. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 28th day of December as their birthday, and if this happens to be your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Jack Webb, an episode of Dragnet as it was originally broadcast 71 years ago, December 28, 1952, The Big Mask. That's up next here on this Thursday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 7 years of bigger and bigger enrollments, America's grade schools will need nearly 250,000 extra teachers, besides those to fill normal vacancies. This great need, plus the growing public interest in education and improvements in schools, make elementary school teaching a more rewarding career than ever, a career that high school and college students should certainly consider. Education holds America's future, perhaps your future.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 71 years, December 28, 1952, an episode of Dragnet starring Jack Webb and The Big Mask.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. A series of holdups takes place in your city. The victims are managers of large markets. You've got a description of the suspect. Your job, get him. Thousands are changing to Chesterfield, both regular and king size, because only Chesterfield has premium quality in both sizes.
That means king-size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette.
The same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference.
except that king-size Chesterfield is larger. Contains so much more of the same tobaccos, it gives more than a fifth longer smoke. Yes, more than a fifth longer smoke from king-size Chesterfield. So remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Buy 'em either way you like 'em, regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Yes, Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, February 7th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from R&I, and it was 8:42 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Hey, you, Joe?
Yeah.
Where you been?
Down to R&I.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late.
No, there's no problem.
Couldn't get the car started. The battery was dead. I had to call the gas station and have them get me started.
Well, don't worry about it. It's okay. Anything here in the book?
No. Checked him when I got in. Had a 211 out in Westwood last night. Same M.O. Might be the guy.
Who's checking it?
Murph and Creasy went out there this morning.
Here's the stuff we got last night. R&I went through it. Doesn't look like they got anything. You seen the skipper yet?
Oh, I saw him come in. I didn't talk to him. Came in, went to his office carrying a bottle of milk.
Well, that figures.
He's like a barometer, isn't he, Joe? When there's no milk on his desk, you know everything's under control.
Yeah.
As soon as that milk comes out, you know the ulcers are grinding.
Yeah, I suppose.
That must be real rough on him, though. The way the papers have been yakking about this thing. I saw Captain Jack this morning on the way in.
Yeah.
He said the corner pocket's leaning all over him.
Well, there's got to be an answer someplace. The guy can't just keep walking into the stores and walking out again. He's got to make a mistake someplace.
Yeah. What's it figure, 6 jobs so far?
Yeah, 6 of them. Every one of them he's made it clean. Hot shot. I'll get it. Well, those figures were wrong.
Yeah?
He just made it 7. For the past 2 months, a hold-up man had been hitting markets throughout the central area. In each case, the description of the bandit was the same. His M.O. tallied with that used in other robberies. In each instance, the bandit had been waiting for the manager of the market when the store was opened. At gunpoint, the suspect would force the manager to accompany him around the market. He'd push a wire food cart in front of them as they walked. He'd pick up various merchandise and place it in the basket. He'd then force the manager to open the safe, clean it out, lock the manager in a cold storage vault, and walk out of the market pushing the food cart in front of him. Special stakeouts had been arranged at the markets. Extra units from Metro Division had been assigned to patrol duty, but the holdups continued. 9:22 a.m. Frank and I got to the address of the latest robbery, the county market at the corner of Olympic and Maryland. A radio car was there when we arrived.
Come in. Yes, something you wanted?
Police officers. It's my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Hello, I'm Arthur Scott. I'm the manager here. You got that man did this yet?
No, sir, not yet. I wonder if you could tell us just what happened.
Sure.
You know where the other officers are, Mr. Scott?
Outside someplace. They were talking to the others, getting names and addresses, something like that.
You want to check them, Frank?
Yeah, sure.
Fine. I wonder if you'd mind telling me just what happened.
Well, the man was waiting for me when I came in this morning. I don't know how he got in. He just walked up behind me and said that I shouldn't cause any trouble.
About what time was this? Do you remember?
Well, let's see. It must have been about 7:10, 7:15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I came in the front door. Everything looked all right. Walked back here on my way to the office. He just came up in back of me.
Yes, sir.
Had this gun. He pointed at me, told me not to cause any trouble, like I said.
What kind of a gun was it? Would you remember?
It was just a gun. He pointed it right at me.
Well, I understand that, sir. Do you remember if it was an automatic or a revolver?
I guess it was a revolver, long barrel. I could see the bullets in it. I knew it was loaded. I wasn't going to mess with him.
Yes, sir. Now, what happened after he walked up to you?
He told me that if I went along with him, I wouldn't get hurt. And then he walked me up to the front of the store by the check stands, took one of the baskets, and started to walk along the racks. Made me walk in front of him. Real nervy. Took his time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while we walked along, he'd take things out of the displays.
Well, what kind of things?
Well, you know, different kind of cheeses, caviar. Took some special artichoke hearts. Things cost $1.50 a jar. Expensive.
Yes, sir. What did the man look like, Mr. Scott? Can you give us any kind of a description?
Well, that's kind of hard. He had on this big overcoat and a brown hat pulled down, and then the black mask over his face. I couldn't get a very good look at him.
Well, how old would you say he was?
Oh, boy, I'd have to guess on that. Maybe 50, 55. Looked that old anyway. About all I could see was the bottom part of his face, like he was pretty old.
Mm-hmm. How about the color of his eyes? Could you see them?
Yeah, through the mask, they were blue. Real light blue, kind of watery.
About how tall would you say he was?
Maybe 5'2" or 3. Short little man.
Mm-hmm. How about his weight?
Real little, like I said. I don't think he weighed more than 130. That'd be outside, too.
Was there anything unusual about him? Anything at all that you could remember?
No, not that I can remember.
Anything in the way he talked? Some accent of any kind? Anything like that?
No, nothing at all there.
Mm-hmm. How about the coat he was wearing? What color was that? Do you remember?
It was a dark brown, sort of a herringbone. Looked real old, like it'd been worn for a long time, kind of frayed around the edges of the cuffs. You know, around here like this, and the buttonholes on the coat were all torn, too. Oh, excuse me.
Yes, sir, go right ahead.
Scott? Yeah. How much? Yeah, and how much case? Mm-hmm. That's not too bad. Yeah, we'll order 25 cases of it, huh? We'll use it as a loss leader this weekend. Okay. Well, don't bother me about it now. You do what you think. Okay. Seems like nobody can do anything but you. Give people a little responsibility, they hardly ever know how to use it.
Yes, sir. Wonder if you'd go ahead with your story.
Hmm?
Well, right after this man picked up the food?
Oh, well, at first I thought he was going to take that. And then I got to thinking about the stuff in the papers. You know about the Black Mask Bandit?
Yes, sir.
Well, I got thinking about that, and then I knew who he was. I tried to get as much information about him as I could. Not much, anyway. About this time must have been 7:30 or so. Jack Thomas came in. He works in the vegetable department. And right away, this guy said for him to get in the back.
You mean back here?
No, back in the meat department. Put him right in the refrigerator.
Well, what about the other employees? What happened when they came in?
He'd make them get back in the refrigerator. Cold. People were pretty lucky. Being as how it was cold outside, most of them had coats on. Would have froze if they didn't have.
I understand.
Customers, too. They'd come in, he'd put them in the refrigerator. There was 14 people in there when he got through. A couple of kids, too. Came in with their mothers.
I see.
Well, then he took me back to the safe, made me open it. I thought about saying no, but it's a little safe, you know, down low.
Yes, sir.
Well, I knelt down to work the combination. I looked up at him, had the gun pointed right at my head. I looked right into the barrel, saw the bullets in the cylinders. I was scared, and I opened the safe. He took the money and put it in a paper bag and dropped it into the basket.
And he put you in the refrigerator, too, did he?
Yeah, that is, he started to. When he opened the door, the people in there were all shivering, flailing their arms around, trying to keep warm. It's a little room, not much bigger than this, and there wasn't much room to flail. Anyway, they asked him if he wouldn't let him out. He said no, but then he asked me if there was someplace else he could put him. And I told him that the only place I could think of was another storage room. We use it sometimes when we got a real big shipment of meat. Don't usually keep it under refrigeration.
I see. They let you all go there, huh?
Yeah, the darndest thing I ever saw. 14 of them. All 14 herded them just like cattle. Moved them all to the other cooler. They were all so cold they'd have done anything to get out of that one. I tell you, officer, I was scared that one of them might try to be brave about it and cause trouble. I think that guy would have killed him right on the spot.
Yes, sir. Well, what did he do then?
Well, he locked the door. Then, from what I could see through the cooler window, he just strolled out of the store and down the street. He was still wheeling a basket in front of him.
I see. Anything, Frank?
Yeah, Joe. I checked with Wheelock from the radio car. He said they canvassed the neighborhood, came up with a man who thinks he saw the bandit drive away.
Was he able to give us any kind of a description on the car?
No. Said he saw this guy walking down the street pushing a basket and thought it was kind of funny. Didn't pay too much attention to it. Saw him get into a late model Ford and drive away. Couldn't give a very good description of the car. Said it was a dark color. Not sure about the year.
The guy still had that mask on?
No. Didn't have the mask, but the fellow didn't notice anything about his face. Can't help us much there. He's going to come down and look through the mug books.
Oh, that's good. Do you have any idea how much money was taken here, sir?
Well, no, I can't tell you to the penny, but I figure about $3,500.
You usually keep this much money on hand, do you?
No, not as a rule. I didn't get to the bank yesterday. We had an inventory sale going on. I just didn't get the chance.
Did the bandit take anything you think might help us identify him? Anything from the safe that you might be able to describe?
No, not a thing. Just the money. Of course, that's enough. There wasn't much in there. A wristwatch that was lost here in the store. He looked at that but threw it back into the safe.
Was he wearing gloves, do you remember?
Yeah, he was. Looked like pigskin, sort of a light tan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know what you're thinking about, fingerprints. No, with those gloves, he wouldn't leave it.
Yes, sir.
Say, officer.
Yeah?
You talked to the other officer that was here, the one in the car?
Yes, sir, I did.
He was kind of in charge of the people in the icebox, took care of them. Was any of them hurt?
No, sir. Some of them were pretty cold, but they were all right.
Yeah, we keep that box turned way down to sub-zero.
Yes, sir.
I wonder if, as police officers, you'd mind talking to those folks. They're all good customers here. I'd hate to lose them to Frenchie's Fine Foods down the street.
Where's that, sir?
Frenchie's Market just down the street. He's going to make a big thing out of this. By noontime, it'll be all over the neighborhood.
Well, I'm sure none of your customers will blame you, sir.
Well, no, officer, it ain't exactly that. That Frenchie's going to make a big reputation on my back.
Well, Mr. Scott, markets have been held up before.
Yeah, but not with our motto.
What's that?
We freeze anything.
9:46 a.m. Frank and I continued to talk to Arthur Scott. We questioned him about the actions of the holdup man, but he was unable to give us any new information. The crime lab came out and checked the store. The M.O. was the same. He'd entered through a rear window. Tool marks were found. Photographs were taken. No other physical evidence was found. 10:14 a.m. We drove back to the office and checked with Captain Didion. 3 other teams of men were assigned to help us in interviewing the people who had been locked up in the refrigerator. None of them could add anything to what we already knew. Because of the age of the bandit and the smoothness with which he operated, we had a hunch that he might have served some time in a state prison. Frank and I checked out a trip car and drove up to Folsom Penitentiary. We checked with Warden Heinze and told him what we wanted. For the next 2 days, we checked the prison files. We got several possible leads, but when we got back to Los Angeles, none of them led anywhere. Tuesday, February 12th, 8:49 a.m. We checked with Captain Didion.
Well, you come up with anything?
No, not a thing, Skipper. We checked them all out. Nothing.
How much longer you figure it's going to take you to come up with something we can use?
We're doing everything we can. We've run down every lead.
They all go nowhere. Yeah, I know. I've been telling the corner pocket that all month. Doesn't prove a thing, and they aren't buying it anymore.
Well, Frank and I got an idea, Skipper. It's kind of wild, but might turn it.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, if you take a look at the map over here. Now, the last 2 months, he's hit 7 places here. Here, through here, and up and through here. Not much of a pattern, but maybe there's enough to work on here.
Mm-hmm.
From the way he's worked in the past, he's going to be waiting in the stores when the manager comes in. So the problem is to find some way to check the managers after they first get to the stores.
So?
Well, so most of the stores open about 8 o'clock. From what we've been able to check out, the managers get in about 6:30 to 7. We make arrangements for them to call the office after they're in the stores and they've checked them through.
How are you going to work the calling?
Well, Frank and I figured that if we could stagger the calls, so we'd get one at, say, 6:30, next one at 6:31 or 6:32, and so forth.
We allow them 5 minutes leeway. If we haven't heard from them in that time, then we know something's wrong.
How many men do you figure you're going to need to do this?
Well, maybe 2, 3 other teams. Those and the men from Metro that we have now.
It's wild, Skipper, but it's about the only thing we got left.
How long will it take you to check with the store owners?
Well, maybe 2, 3 days. We figured that we'd keep it in this area right over here. There seems to be maybe where he'll hit next is all we can.
Now, just a minute. Robbery, Didion. Yeah. When? They sure about the ammo? Mm-hmm. Description? Send it in, will you? Right. Better enlarge that area.
What do you mean?
You're just hitting Sacramento.
Tuesday, February 12th, 3:45 p.m. Frank and I talked on the phone to Fritz Kaminsky, chief of police in Sacramento. He told us that the market bandit went through the same sequence of events that had characterized his operations in Los Angeles. First, he took several food items from the display stands in the store, and then he forced the manager to open the safe. After robbing the safe, the thief locked the manager in a meat refrigeration locker and left the store. A witness in the neighborhood saw the suspect leave the store and said that he'd escaped in a late-model dark Ford sedan. He was unable to give us much of a description of the man, but he said that he was elderly, small, and that he'd been dressed in a brown overcoat and a brown hat, and he wore a black mask. There could be little doubt that it was the same man who had been hitting the markets in the Southland. Wednesday, February 13th. Frank and I checked out a trip car and we drove up to Sacramento. We talked with the victim and with a witness. Both of them were unable to find the thief's picture in the mug books. Stakeouts were arranged on the markets in the Sacramento area, and additional bulletins were gotten out on the Ford sedan. Frank and I returned to Los Angeles and started to set up the plan that we discussed with Captain Didion. Each of the store managers agreed to cooperate, and starting the morning of February 18th, the plan was put into operation. 3 weeks passed. The bandit failed to hit again. March 18th, 6:37 a.m.
Robbery, Merton. What's that number?
Yes. Robbery, Smith. Yes, sir. Okay, thanks. Number 38, okay.
Right. Still no word from 34. We better get ready to roll on it.
Let's see. That's that supermarket on Palmetto Avenue.
That's right. Let's go. Murph.
Yeah?
Catch the rest of the calls, will you?
Yeah, sure, Joe.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't know. Let's find out.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way, both regular and king size. And we're the only one that does it. We tell you what Chesterfields are made of to give you premium quality in both popular sizes. Our scientists select the best materials. They select for Chesterfield the world's best tobaccos, blend them just right. And they keep Chesterfields tasty and fresh with the best of moistening agents. Now, here's something else that's completely modern about Chesterfield. People smoke Chesterfield, and we tell you what happens. Scientifically, but simply.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years. After 8 months, the medical specialist reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
I'd say that means real mildness. And finally, we ask you to try Chesterfield and prove what we say. Chesterfield is best for you. They're much milder, to give you all the pleasure that the modern cigarette can give.
It took us a little over 5 minutes to get to the store on Palmetto. As we went by the place, we couldn't see anyone through the front windows. The store looked empty. Frank pulled the car into the parking lot next door to the store, and we walked around to the front.
How about it?
No, I can't see anything from here. You want to cover the back?
Yeah.
I'll give you time to get back there, then I'll go in the front.
Right.
Watch it.
I tell you, I don't know the combination.
I don't want any trouble. I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to hurt you. Open the safe and everything will be all right. You read the papers. You know about me. Now do what I say and nothing will...
All right, mister, let's hold it right there. Police officers, put that gun down.
Now watch it, Joe. He's coming at you. Get out of my way.
All right, come here.
You okay, Joe?
Yeah, I got him, Frank. Want to shake him down?
Right.
Here. You got him? You got the gun?
Yeah, we got him.
I was sure scared there for a minute. I tried to think about how I was going to stall him long enough before you get here.
Yeah. He's clean, Joe. All right, come on, mister. On your feet. Come on. What's your name?
Clark. Leonard Clark.
All right, let's go.
You want me to go along with you?
Yeah, well, why don't you make a crime report?
Fine, I'll do anything to help try to rob me.
Lousy deal. Might have known something was wrong the way that guy played it. Should have known.
Yeah, sure.
You figure me for the guy you're looking for? This black masked bandit the paper's been yakking about?
That's the way we figure it.
Well, too bad, fellas. You can't make me for it.
Is that right?
Yeah, you're looking for somebody else. You got the wrong man.
How old are you, Clark?
52.
Ever serve any big time?
Sure, what's that prove?
Well, the way you look, the way you work this one, even the mask. We made you for it.
Only one thing.
What's that?
You gotta prove it.
8:30 a.m. We took Leonard Clark downtown to the city hall. We talked to him for about an hour. He admitted trying to hold up the market, but he insisted that he was not the Black Mask Bandit. He told us that he'd read about the holdups in the paper and that it seemed like an easy way to pull a robbery. He told us that he'd used a pinch bar to jimmy a rear window in the market, and then he entered the place. He told us that he'd waited for the manager to come in, and then he tried to get him to open the safe. Sergeants Murphy and Creasy went out to his home. They found nothing there to tie him in with the other robberies. A check through R&I showed a record on Clark listing 2 convictions for 211 and 1 count of 245 PC. He'd served time at both San Quentin and Folsom penitentiaries, as well as some of the eastern penitentiaries. Mugshots of Clark were shown to the victims of the Black Mask Bandit, and they said that it was a possibility that he could be the man who'd robbed them. Friday, March 21st, the special show-up was arranged, and the victims were asked to be present. We explained that the questions asked were for the express purpose of acquainting the victims with the suspect's voice. Clark was brought out on the stage and asked his name.
Leonard Clark.
What were you arrested for?
I don't know.
You must know what you're being held for.
They say I'm the Black Mask Bandit.
Are you?
No.
Were you armed when you were arrested?
What?
Were you armed when you were arrested?
Yeah.
What kind of weapon were you carrying?
.38 revolver.
Leonard, could you speak a little louder, please?
.38 revolver.
How long you been in jail?
Since Tuesday.
Where were you arrested?
Market out on South Palmetto.
It's a long street. Where on South Palmetto?
1721 South Palmetto.
What were you doing there?
Was arrested for trying to hold up the place.
You ever done any big time?
Huh?
I say, you ever done any big time?
Yeah.
Where?
At Q, Folsom.
What'd you do the time for, Leonard?
Which time?
Well, let's take them in order. How about Quentin?
5 to life for robbery.
How about Folsom?
Same thing.
You owe any time now?
Yeah, I'm on parole.
Joe.
Yeah.
Ask him to turn around, will you? The victims can't see him too good.
All right. Leonard, take a quarter turn to your left. No, Leonard, to your left. All right, now another quarter turn. Another quarter turn. Now another quarter turn. No, same way. Another quarter turn. Now face the front, Leonard. Where do you live?
Out in Hollywood.
Where?
Corner of DeLongpre and Monroe, apartment house.
It's a good-sized corner. Which apartment?
Ashley Arms, apartment 604.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a carpenter.
A what?
Carpenter, I said.
You work steady?
Yeah.
Who do you work for?
I'm a carpenter for a contractor named Gagely.
Now look straight, will you, Leonard? Straight ahead.
Yeah.
You remember where you were on February 7th? That was a Thursday.
No.
You got no idea at all?
Not at all.
You own a car?
Yeah.
What make is it?
It's a Ford.
Speak up, will you, Leonard? We can't hear you.
A Ford.
What color is it?
Dark blue.
What year?
1950.
All right, Leonard. Now would you step over to the side of the stage? No, the other way. The side of the stage. Well, how's it look, Frank?
Nothing yet. The manager at the county market seems to think it's him. The others aren't sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe when we get the coat and mask on, it'll help. Those clothes, Leonard, are they yours?
Yeah, they're mine.
How about that mask? That belong to you, too?
Yeah.
Would you put the mask on? Well, just put it on. That's it. Now put the hat on. That the way you usually wear it?
That's right.
All right. Take a quarter turn to your left. No, Leonard, your left. That's it. Now again. And again. Once more. All right, now face forward. Now all the way around. Come on, Leonard. Straight forward out this. That's it.
Yeah.
Now repeat these words. Just be quiet and you won't get hurt.
Just be quiet, you won't get hurt.
Now say, open the safe and don't cause any trouble.
Open the safe, don't cause any trouble.
A little louder, Leonard.
Open the safe and don't cause any trouble.
All right, Leonard, you can take the mask off. How many times have you been arrested?
I don't know.
About how many times would you say?
Maybe 15, something like that.
What'd you fall for?
Suspicion.
Suspicion of what?
A lot of things. They didn't nail me for 'em.
How old are you now, Leonard?
52.
How old were you when you were arrested the first time?
16.
You've had quite a life, haven't you?
Yeah, I fell among evil companions.
All right, Leonard, that's all. How about it, Mr. Scott?
I can't be sure, Sergeant, but I think that's a man.
Can I see a minute, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Scott just gave a tentative identification.
Yeah, well, he's the only one.
What do you mean?
The others say we got the wrong man.
11:45 p.m. We returned Leonard Clark to his cell. Frank and I continued to question the victims of the Black Mask Bandit. Only one of them was able to give us a tentative identification. Clark would be filed on the following morning for attempting to rob the market on Palmetto Avenue, pending investigation on the other charges. The working detective has come to know that many times at a show-up, identifying witnesses sometimes become confused, sometimes fail to speak up for one reason or another, sometimes due to fear, the idea of incriminating a man, thus making the officer's task of bringing a suspect to justice all the more difficult. In spite of the lack of identifying witnesses, Frank and I felt reasonably sure that we had the Black Mask Bandit in custody. The following morning, March 22nd, we checked into the office to fill out the follow-up forms.
You know, Joe, I just can't figure it. He's got to be it. He's got the motive, the opportunity, everything.
Yeah, M.O. matches.
We got him on one count anyway. What happens now?
Well, I guess we just wait. If there aren't any more holdups, we know we got the right guy. It's about the only way you can do it. Anyway, you slice it, Clark's finished. The court gets through with him this time, they'll nail him for life.
Yeah, I suppose so. He sure looks like the guy to me, though. I tell you, Joe, he's got to be it. Everything fits with him, all the way down the line.
That's what I figured, too.
Friday, Smith?
Yeah, Skipper.
Call from Hollywood Division. Just had one at 3rd and Selma.
Yeah, what about it?
Black Mask Bandit. We haven't got him.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 17th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, all of us who sell Chesterfields want to thank you for making 1952 such a wonderful year, both for Dragnet and for Chesterfield. Remember, Chesterfield makes it possible for us to bring you Dragnet, and in return, we hope you'll try our cigarette, because Chesterfield is best for you. Premium quality Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size. They're much milder.
Leonard Stanley Clark was tried and convicted of attempted robbery. Because of his previous criminal record, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary, Folsom, California.
Next week, The Big Mask, Part 2. Ladies and gentlemen, as an investment, bonds are better than ever. So whether you already buy on the payroll savings plan where you work or the bond-a-month plan where you bank, get an extra bond for defense tomorrow.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Whit Connor, Harry Bartell. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, there's more adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator, on NBC.
And we'll have that next episode of Dragnet, the follow-up to The Big Mask, next Thursday at this time. All righty, radio's outstanding theater of thrills is up next from 65 years ago, right here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Whenever you drive the car, there is always an unseen, unwelcome passenger with you. That passenger is danger. The danger of a traffic accident. Unfortunately, every person seems to have the absurd notion that he bears a charmed life, that no traffic accident can happen to him. But it can, and too often it does. So when you're behind that wheel, don't take chances. Obey all traffic rules. Drive safely for life, your life, and the lives of us.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Mr. and Mrs. Frank Lovejoy. Up next in this episode of Suspense from 65 years ago, December 28, 1958, the 32nd of December.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
Tampering with time has been an ambition of man since he first realized how inexorably he is time's slave. At this time of the year, although we have even less time on our hands, time is much in our minds. We make a magic ritual of New Year's Eve when we suppose we can flush away all our past impurities and begin afresh at that magic hour of midnight on the 31st of December. But suppose we couldn't. Suppose the 31st of December were not the end. Listen Listen then as Mr. Frank Lovejoy stars in The 32nd of December.
And now, The 32nd of December, starring Mr. Frank Lovejoy, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
New Year's Eve. As far as I was concerned, when I got up the morning of December 31st, it could stay 1958 forever. The only trouble is time doesn't work that way. Time is a downhill ride in a car with no brakes. You can't stop it even if your life depends on it. And mine did.
Joe, your breakfast is getting cold.
I'm coming. All I have time for is a cup of coffee anyway. What is this, milk? Don't we ever have anything but milk to put in the coffee?
You know we can't afford cream these days. We can hardly afford to eat.
Molly, you'll be wearing mink yet. Just give me a little more time.
Yeah, you've been saying that ever since you got married.
Well, sooner or later, Molly, I'm going to make it. By the way, honey, let me have your ring.
Why?
Well, you said the diamond's loose. I'll drop it at the jeweler's on my way to the office.
Oh, we can't afford to get it fixed now.
Molly, that's an expensive ring. We can't afford not to take care of it.
Joe, have you been gambling again?
Oh, now, Molly, I told you, I'm all through with that.
You told me the same thing just before you pawned your watch. And the cufflinks I gave you on our first anniversary.
I'm not going to pawn your engagement ring. Now, let me have it. I'll pick it up on my way home tonight.
Well, all right, but, Joe,
What?
Remember, it's very precious, at least to me.
Sure, I've been gambling again. I was in the hole bad. The boys wanted to pay off by midnight, and this time they weren't going to take no for an answer. If I couldn't raise the dough on Molly's ring, I didn't know what I'd do. The pawn shop was like any other pawn shop. Dirty and gloomy, full of junk, with clocks ticking all over the place. One thing caught my eye as soon as I came in. In the front case, a watch, curiously ornate, obviously very old. It sort of glowed in the case. I couldn't take my eyes off it.
You like to look at the watch?
No. No, it's very interesting, but, how much can I get on this ring?
On this, I can lend you $150.
150? The guy I won it off claimed it was worth more than 1,000.
150?
I can probably get 500 for it easy.
Then you would be foolish to accept my offer.
That's the best you can do?
150.
I'll take it.
I will get the money.
While I waited, I felt my eyes drawn to the antique watch again. I picked it up. It felt warm in my hand, almost as if it were alive. Its face was covered with all sorts of dials and figures. The date of the month, phase of the moon, even the signs of the zodiac. Some of the dials I couldn't read at all. They were inscribed with strange characters, like hieroglyphics or ancient Sanskrit. Suddenly, I felt I had to have that watch.
100, 20, 40, 45, 150.
Can you tell me what all these dials mean?
I can tell you only that this watch controls many kinds of time. The fellow who pawned it claimed it could make time pass as slowly or as rapidly as he desired.
That's a pretty good trick.
Mm-hmm. But only a trick. Time is different for each of us, is it not?
What do you mean?
To a man sitting on a hot stove, 1 second lasts forever. But to a man making love, forever is only a second.
Yeah, I see what you mean. How much are you asking for the watch?
$150. Excuse me. Hello. Yes, one moment, please. Is your name Joe Adcock?
Yeah, why?
Yes, Mr. Adcock is here.
Who is it?
Who is calling? Hello. Hello? That is odd.
Nobody knew I was coming here. Who was it?
He did not identify himself. He just said, I would not believe him. Then he hung up.
It's funny. Say, Now, what about the guy who pawned this watch? Any chance of him wanting it back?
No, Mr. Adcock. He will not return for it. He has no further use for the watch.
Okay. Well, then I'll take it. I don't know why, but I've got to have it. I had no business buying the watch. It was a crazy thing to do. I hadn't walked more than a few steps from the pawn shop when I learned just how crazy.
Hold it, Adcock.
Well, who are you?
Just one of the boys.
What do you want?
Little talk. Private. In the alley here.
But I don't have
In the alley.
Ow, my arm.
You got the grand, Adcock?
I got until midnight to get it.
Yeah, that's right. The boss just wants me to make sure you don't forget. Like last time.
Oh, I won't forget, I promise.
I'll be waiting for you at midnight, right here by the pawn shop. Oh, and one more thing.
So what is it?
This.
Oh,
That's just to make sure you don't forget. If you don't show up with the dough, there ain't going to be no New Year for you. You understand?
Yes, I understand.
Good. See you at midnight.
I had to get back the 150. Maybe I could make a fast killing at the track with it, or something. I had to get it back.
Oh, back so soon, Mr. Adcock?
Yes, I made a mistake.
We all make mistakes. That is life.
Look, I've got to have that money back. Here's your watch.
My watch, Mr. Adcock? This is your watch. You bought it.
But I don't want it. I want the money.
A deal is a deal.
But you don't understand.
It is you who do not understand, Mr. Adcock. To sell the watch, you must find a buyer. I am not buying.
Look, you got to help me. Well, will you take the watch and pawn?
Of course. That is my business.
Well, how much can I get for it?
$5.
$5? Just a few minutes ago, I paid $150 for it.
It is unfortunate that I do not value it so highly now. $5?
No, thanks. $5 wouldn't help me. I had to have money, big money. My only chance now was to try to borrow it.
I know you've had an account here for years, Mr. Adcock, and of course we like to do what we can for our regular customers, but unless you have some collateral...
Well, what kind of collateral?
Oh, stocks, bonds, real estate.
If I had that kind of stuff, I wouldn't need the loan.
500? Joe, you're crazy. Hey, bartender, another beer.
All right, Harry. Make it a C note. Anything.
Yeah, well, what about the C note you borrowed last August?
Oh, I'll pay you back. Honest.
Yeah, I heard that last August.
Oh, Harry, how long have you known me?
10 years, I guess.
All right, 10 years. Doesn't that count for anything?
For a C note, it don't.
Oh, but Harry...
No.
Not a dime. Not a lousy dime. Only one thing left to do.
Central Flower Shop.
Molly, I want you to come home right now.
Joe, aren't you at work?
No, I'm home.
What's the matter? Are you sick?
I'm all right. Just come home and hurry.
Joe, what's wrong?
We've got to get out of town. Fast. It took only a few minutes to throw everything Molly and I owned into suitcases. I kept looking at the watch, wondering when Molly was going to show up.
At the tone signal, the correct time will be 2:30.
2:30? What's keeping her? Well, at least the watch is on time. I wonder when I ought to wind it. Might as well do it right now. If I can figure out which one of these knobs to use. I'll try this one. What the devil? Where did the sun go? It was shining a minute ago. Now it's snowing. Oh, blasted, I did get the wrong knob. I moved it back to the 28th, so now I've got... Hey, wait a minute. The 28th was Sunday, the day we had the big snowstorm. Could the watch have... it's impossible. I set it back to the 31st, and I... What the... Now the sun is shining. Did the watch change the day, or am I losing my mind? Maybe I could set it again, test it. Let me see. I was in that pawn shop just before 1 o'clock. I set the hour hand back to 12:45. There. Now we'll see.
Hello?
Is this the 3rd Avenue pawn shop?
Yes?
Is Joe Adcock there?
One moment, please. Is your name Joe Adcock?
Yeah, why?
Yes, Mr. Adcock is here.
Who is it?
Who is calling?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. I could hardly believe it myself. But there was no question about it. The watch did control time. Once I'd grasped that fact, I began to realize its implications. For the first time in my life, I could have all the time I needed, all the time I wanted.
Joe! Oh, Joe, what's wrong?
Not a thing, Molly, not a thing.
But you said we had to leave town.
Oh, did I? Well, that's all over now.
Joe, what are you talking about? I'll probably lose my job.
No, don't get excited. Well, I might as well tell you the whole story. I lied to you about the gambling, Molly. I'm $1,000 in debt. I've got to pay off by midnight, but...
You pawned my ring, didn't you?
But now, don't worry. I'll get it back.
You lied to me.
I said I'll get it
You
back.
had no right to pawn it. It's mine. I want my ring,
All
Joe.
right, I'll get it.
Now, right now.
I haven't got time now. I've got to get back to the bank before it closes.
Get my ring, you promised.
Will you quit nagging me about your blasted ring? Let me get back to the bank. We'll have enough money to buy you a dozen rings.
Joe, what are you going to do?
I'm going to rob the bank. What else? I had the watch figured out right. Robbing the bank would be as easy as taking pennies from a blind man. It was 2 minutes to 3 when I walked into the bank and headed for the vault.
Oh, hello, Mr. Adcock. Back again, I see.
Yeah, I've got to get into my safety deposit box.
Certainly. Go right ahead.
Good. Nobody else in here. Now, I just turned the watch back to Sunday, the 28th. It worked. I'm locked in the vault, and it's Sunday. Now, let's see where they keep the ready cash. There it is. Stacks of it, and all mine. Well, that's plenty for now. Enough to pay the mob and more. There's always more where this comes from. Now, reset the watch to December 31st. Perfect. The perfect crime. All I have to do is get out of here without letting them see the money.
Mr. Adcock.
Yes?
A happy and prosperous New Year to you, sir.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot. Molly! Hey, Molly. Molly, it worked. We're rich.
Have you been drinking?
No, not a drop. Here, look at this. Go on. Take them up. They're real.
Joe. These are $1,000 bills. Where did you get them?
I robbed the bank.
Oh, come on, Joe.
I always told you I'd make it big someday. Well, today is the day. Now, you go out and buy yourself a dress. We're going to celebrate New Year's Eve in style.
Happy New Year, Joe. Happy New Year.
Yeah, come on. Let's get out of this crowd.
It's almost midnight. I thought we were going to celebrate. You were going to take me to a nightclub.
Yeah. But first, I got to meet a guy at midnight. Come on.
Ooh.
A guy. I've got to pay off that gambling debt.
Well, where are you meeting him?
It's just a block away in front of the pawn shop.
The pawn shop. My ring. Joe, you forgot my ring.
Oh, for Pete's sake. I'll get your lousy ring back. Just give me a little time.
Oh, a little time. That's the story of your life, isn't it, Joe? Just give me a little time. Well, all right. I'll give you all the time you want, all the rest of your life. I'm through with you, Joe. I just can't take it anymore.
Molly, don't leave me. Molly, come back.
Happy New Year.
Well, what happened? Molly just disappeared. The street is deserted. Molly! Hey, where is everybody? I wonder if this crazy watch had anything to do with the 32nd. It should have clicked over to January 1st. Oh, no wonder everybody disappeared. There isn't any 32nd of December. I'll just reset it. It's stuck. It won't budge. Oh, it's got to move. It's just... Oh, no. It can't be broken. I can't stay in the 32nd of December forever. I've got to fix it. I've got to get the back off. I've got to get it to works. There. But there's nothing inside. It's the 32nd of December. And it will always be the 32nd of December.
Suspense, in which Frank Lovejoy starred in William N. Robeson's production of The 32nd of December, written by Morris Lee Green and William Walker. Supporting Frank Lovejoy in The 32nd of December were Joan Banks, Barney Phillips, Sam Pierce, and Norm Alden. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Tonight, thrill with Gunsmoke on the CBS Radio Network.
Mr. and Mrs. Frank Lovejoy, of course, she's known professionally as Joan Banks. But they both starred in that episode of Suspense, as it was originally broadcast 65 years ago, December 28th, 1958. The 32nd of December, coming up for somebody, maybe. What's coming up for us is the FBI in Peace and War from 73 years ago, December 28th, 1950.
That machine you hear is a zip code scanner in action. An electronic device that actually reads the zip code on your letters and speeds them on their way at the fantastic rate of 36,000 per hour. Put it to work for you. Use zip code on every letter you send. Don't hold up the mail. Remember, mail moves the country, and zip code moves the mail.
You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Crime again tomorrow, as we will have Gangbusters, another episode of Dragnet, Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune, and Sidney Greenstreet in The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, and we will get to the carnival and see what's going on with Lum and Abner. That'll be on our Friday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But right now, as promised, an episode of the FBI in Peace and War. We go back 73 years for this episode, entitled The Fix.
The FBI in Peace and War. Another great story based on Frederick L. Collins' copyrighted book, The FBI in Peace and War. Drama, thrills, action. Tonight's story, The Fixer.
All right, mister, do what you're told. Open that cash box. All right, now put the money in this bag. Now close the bag. Shove it over here. Now you stay right there, your face to the wall, understand? If you don't, you won't live to tell your grandchildren about this. I told you to stay. I told you.
What happened, Fred? Get going. The minute this alley will be crawling with cops. Well, what happened? You heard me, Wally. Get going.
From time to time, the Bureau had come across the name and activities of one Fred Dunkirk, a three-time loser. He was brought to our attention for the last time following a daring daylight robbery of an Akron, Ohio supermarket on April 14, 1955. The manager of the market, who was shot in the shoulder, identified the criminal as Dunkirk. Under the provisions of the National Stolen Properties Act, the Bureau was called in. Agent Reynolds and I were assigned and left for Akron to cooperate with the local police in the search for Dunkirk.
FBI. It says right here in the paper the FBI is cooperating. Fred, what are we going to do?
Oh, stop the ball, and that's what I get taking on a kid like you. Still green behind the ears.
If you didn't shoot that man...
I should have killed him. Identifying me. I should have shut his mouth for good.
We got to get out. We can't stay here.
We're staying.
But, Fred...
You heard what I said before, Wally. We're staying until Dolan gets here.
But he can't do us any good now.
Oh, no. Charlie, Dolan's got ways of fixing things. So we'll wait and see.
Fix like this, you're asking the impossible, Fred.
Well, you told me to come to you any time, didn't you, Mr. Dolan?
Yes.
You said with your connections, you could fix anything.
I said practically anything, but you're in the worst kind of a jam. Positive identification has been made. You, a three-time loser, shooting the man.
I didn't ask you to come over here to give me a rundown. I asked for help.
You have to look at the picture from a practical standpoint.
Fred, we better get going.
Shut up, Wally.
But he said...
I said shut up. And the answer is no, Mr. Dolan?
I didn't say that, Fred. I just said you're asking.
For the impossible, I know. But do you really think it's impossible?
Well, it'll be very difficult.
That's different.
And very expensive.
I didn't expect it to be free.
$10,000.
What?
You said you didn't expect it to be free, didn't you?
$10,000?
Papers said your take from the robbery was $20,000. All I want is half.
Half?
That's all.
Half? How do you like the nerve of this guy, Wally?
Well, what's the difference how much it is as long as we get off?
Who's asking you? $10,000 after all the trouble.
Three-time losers can't be choosers.
Don't try to be funny.
I'm not. Just looking at the practical side again.
Freddy's right.
I'd listen to Wally if I were you, Fred.
I don't need advice from a kid like him.
I'm only thinking of you.
I'll think for myself.
All right, Fred, you think it over.
Fred, there isn't time.
Wait.
10,000?
All right. All right, but a positive fix.
Don't worry, you'll get your money's worth.
But just to be sure, you get paid after I'm in the clear.
Fair enough.
All right. What's the setup?
I have a friend, a nice old lady named Ma Fergus, who runs a chicken farm outside Glenview. She's boarded clients of mine before. You'll stay with Ma until I say it's safe enough for you to come back to town.
Which will be when?
Just as soon as I fix you up with an airtight alibi.
Okay. Wally, get ready.
Yeah, sure, Fred.
Wait, Wally. You're not going with him.
What?
What do you mean he's not going with me?
Wally's staying in town.
Why?
No one knows he's involved. He's in the clear.
I still want him with me.
He stays here in town.
Now listen.
You listen. You're in a jam up to your ears. You want me to get you out of it? All right, I'll do just that. But only on one condition. What I say goes. No ifs, ands, or buts. Exactly the way I want it, straight down the line. To get a line on Fred Dunkirk, Agent Reynolds and I began with the usual routine legwork, checking all places he had been known to frequent, questioning all persons with whom he had been known to consort. In the meantime, Dunkirk was hiding out at a small chicken farm less than 20 miles from Akron.
Don't those chickens ever stop that racket?
Oh, you'll get used to it in time, Fred.
I won't be around here long enough to get used to it, Mrs. Fergus.
Call me Ma. That's what all my boys call me.
I'm not one of your boys.
Oh, sure you are. Every one of you who stays with me I consider like a son of my own. I lost my own boy 10 years ago this week. He died in the electric chair.
Too bad.
Albert was a good son. He never held out on his ma. He brought me home every penny he ever stole. Would you like to see his picture?
No.
Oh, you remind me so much of him.
All right, so I remind you of him. Let me alone.
Can I get you something to drink, Fred?
No.
You got some nice elderberry wine. I made it myself.
I don't want any.
Oh, you're all upset, aren't you? Oh, that's a pity. Albert used to be the same way. And he'd frown just the way you do, too.
Look, will you get away and let me alone?
I want to help you, boy. That's why we're here on Earth, to help each other. Mother's a specialist. Now, you just tell your troubles to Ma Fergus. She'll understand. Now, what's wrong, Fred?
Now, look. Sitting here for a week twiddling my thumbs listening to those stinking chickens. That's what's wrong, if you want to know.
No. If you just relaxed and considered your stay here a vacation, it'd do you a world of good.
Nothing's going to do me any good until I hear from Dolan that everything is all right.
You just leave it to Mr. Dolan. He's a fine man. He'll fix everything.
Week today. Haven't heard from him in a week. What's taking so long?
No. Don't getting yourself upset more. Just you remember, son, what I used to tell my Albert. Rome or an airtight alibi wasn't built in a day.
Where are you calling from?
Ma Fergus' place.
At least you have the good sense to stay there. Didn't I tell you not to phone me? Didn't I say I'd get in touch with you when I'm ready?
Well, it's been over a week.
It may be another week, even two. You're sitting high and dry.
I want to know what's going on. What about Wally?
He's all right.
Well, I want to talk to him. Send him out here.
Hey, you crazy?
Then tell him to phone me. It's important.
Right now, the only important thing is doing this my way. What you've got to say to Wally can wait. Unless you want to spend the rest of your life in prison.
How much longer, Mr. Dolan?
Well, like I told Fred, another week, maybe two.
Can't see him before?
What do you want to see him about?
Well, just talk.
About what?
Nothing special.
Then it can wait. Anybody ask you questions yet?
No, not yet.
The FBI is asking about Fred all around, I understand.
FBI?
And they may get around to you.
FBI?
Don't let it throw you. I told you what to answer in case, didn't I?
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, don't think. Be sure. The alibi for you was all set. Her name?
Claire Wallace.
And you were where with Miss Wallace all that afternoon?
The movies.
She'll bear that out, so there's nothing for you to worry about, okay?
Yeah, okay, Mr. Dolan. Oh, what about the alibi for Fred?
Well, that's a tougher job. I told you it'll take another week or two. Wally.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk to Fred about?
I told you.
Yeah, nothing special, but it is something special, isn't it?
No.
Look, if I'm going to help you and Fred, you've got to take me into your confidence. You've got to trust me.
It's nothing important, honest.
Wally.
Honest.
It's about the money, isn't it?
What?
The $20,000, it's about that.
No.
Oh, come on, Wally.
No, it's not about that.
You know where it is.
Please, huh?
You're the only one outside of Fred who knows where that money is hidden.
Mr. Dolan, please, I don't want to talk about it.
All right, Wally, if you don't want to talk about it, all right. We won't. For 10 days, we continued the legwork, questioning anybody and everybody who had had any connection with Fred Dunkirk. One fruitless interview led to another. We were finally down to rock bottom, which in this case was the Acme Billiard Parlor.
9 ball in the corner pocket.
Mr. Gregg?
Yeah?
Wally Gregg?
That's right.
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
What?
We'd like to talk to you.
Let's talk. Oh, talk. Yeah, sure. Be with you in a minute, Harry. Somebody wants to talk to me. What's it about?
Dunkirk.
What?
Fred Dunkirk.
Oh, him.
What can you tell us about him?
Fred Dunkirk? Well, all I can tell you is what I've been reading in the papers about him.
Nothing more?
What more should I know?
You tell us.
I don't know anymore. Why ask me?
We found out only this morning that you and Dunkirk were friends.
Well, I wouldn't say friends.
What would you say?
Well, just acquaintances.
We were told more.
No more, just acquaintances.
Where and when have you seen him since the 14th?
14th?
The day of the robbery.
I haven't seen him since then.
When before the 14th?
I don't know. How am I supposed to remember?
We'll help you. You saw him here in this billiard parlor the day before the 14th. You played with him. Remember now?
No. But if you say so, I guess it's true.
Where were you with him on the 14th?
Now, wait a minute. Who said I was with him that day?
We didn't say. We're just asking.
Well, you got a funny way of asking. I wasn't with him that day.
How come you remember that?
Because I happen to remember I had a date.
What kind of a date?
The usual kind with a girl. You want a name?
You seem very anxious to give it.
Look, you can ask me anything you want about that day. I'll tell you who I was with, where I was, anything you want to know. I got nothing to hide, so go ahead and ask.
Back to The Fixer in just a moment.
Friends, this is Jimmy Wallington. You know, many great men have attained the highest office in our land, the presidency of the United States. Can you guess the name of this man? He was born in New Hampshire in 1804, and in his early teens he was an associate of Nathaniel Hawthorne and William Wadsworth Longfellow. After serving in the state legislature, he was offered a cabinet position under President James K. Polk. This he declined, preferring to volunteer for military service in the Mexican War. He served with distinction and bravery, and his war record was a decisive factor in making him a presidential candidate. Elected in 1852, his administration was marked by the growth of the slavery controversy and the signing of the treaty with Japan. Now, you should have his name by now, but in case you don't, here's one more important clue. Many important men were competitors for his nomination, including Stephen Douglas and James Buchanan. It was not until the 49th ballot that his party nominated him as its candidate. Yes, he was Franklin Pierce, 14th President of the United States. His life is part of your American heritage.
And now, Act Two of tonight's story, The Fixer.
From what we had gathered, Wally Gregg was our one possible link with Fred Dunkirk. We had him go over his story several times, recounting his activities on the 14th.
It's like I told you before. My date and I were in the movies all that afternoon. You don't have to believe me. Ask her.
He named a Claire Wallace as his date. Agent Reynolds checked out on Miss Wallace.
Steve, she confirms Wally Gregg's story, every detail of it.
At that moment, things looked dismal for us. As we were to learn later, they didn't seem any brighter to Dunkirk.
I don't like the way things look, Dolan.
Now, how do they look?
It's taking too long.
Let me worry about that.
Sure, let you while I'm sitting here going nuts listening to those chickens and that crazy old dame cackling. I don't know which is worse.
I know what's worse than all this put together.
Oh, don't give me that again.
You don't want to face the truth.
I want to get out of here now.
Nobody's stopping you. Go ahead, leave. How far do you think you'd get? Your face is on every post office bulletin board. Go ahead.
All right. But I want to talk to Wally. And soon.
That can wait with everything else.
It can't.
Look, when are you going to stop arguing, wasting your breath? I told you Wally was questioned by the FBI.
And you said he came out okay.
That doesn't mean they're through with him. If he makes one slip, if he gives them a chance to tie him to you, that's the finish. Everything's going along fine so far. Don't spoil it. I'll be back to see you in a couple of days.
Well, the next time, Dolan, just be sure you come back with good news.
Don't worry. The next time, everything will be different.
Oh, you're leaving so soon, Mr. Dolan?
I'll have to go back to town.
Oh, why don't you stay for supper? Chicken and dumplings.
Yeah, thanks, but I gotta go. He been giving you any trouble?
He's upset. I understand. My Albert used to be the same way when he was in trouble. Then I used to comfort him and protect him. That's what mothers are for, Mr. Dolan. Oh, by the way, his second week's board is due. And not that I'm rushing you, I understand.
Yeah. But the 100.
Thank you. It's a labor of love taking care of these boys you send me, Mr. Dolan. It's uplifting. I'll miss Fred when you have that alibi all set up when you bring him back to town.
There's not going to be any alibi.
Oh?
And he'll never get back to town alive.
Well, isn't that a pity?
I don't call $20,000 a pity, do you?
No. Not if I was to get my share.
Now, you're a money-loving old biddy.
Well, maybe I am, Mr. Dolan, but who's going to look after me in my old age if I don't?
Go ahead, Wally. Have another drink.
Well, thanks. I had enough, Mr. Dolan.
You got something on your mind?
So have you.
Well, what makes you think that?
Well, you didn't ask me up here just to give me a couple of drinks.
Wally, you're a smart young fellow, but I don't understand one thing.
What's that?
How you got mixed up with a lug like Fred Dunkirk?
Now, what kind of talk is that?
It's the truth, and you know it. Dunkirk is a two-bit penny anti-lug.
Now, wait a minute. He's a friend of mine.
Friend? He'd sell you down the river just as soon as look at you.
I'm going.
Hey, you can go after I tell you a few things if you want.
I don't want to hear anything about Fred from you.
All right, then listen to what I have to say about you.
What?
About what'll happen to you when Dunkirk's caught.
Caught?
You don't think he can get away with this, do you?
But you're supposed
Set up an alibi for him? Be easier to find a needle in a haystack. There is no such alibi.
This was all a front. You're not going to help him.
Even a miracle couldn't help him. It's different with you, Wally.
We're not talking about me.
You want to talk sense? We are. Dollars and cents.
What?
With Dunkirk along, what chance do you think you'd have to spend that money? With him along, you'd get picked up so fast, make your head swim.
What are you trying to say?
That Dunkirk is cooked no matter what you do.
What I do?
You know where the money is hidden, don't you?
Well,
You know where we can lay our hands on it.
If you think...
I don't think you want to spend the next 10 years in prison.
Maybe not, but I'm not double-crossing a friend.
He'd do the same to you without batting an eyelash. I said you're a smart young fellow. Start using your brains. Give yourself a chance. You're in the clear now. You can stay in the clear. And have $10,000 in your pocket.
You mean split with you?
I mean a safe and sound business proposition. No one will know where the money came from.
Fred will.
Don't worry about him. He won't be around to mention it. So you see, you'll be safe all around. What do you say, Wally?
I knew you were after something, but I didn't expect anything like this. I don't know what to say. I'll have to think about it.
Oh, sure, Wally. I understand. You think about it and let me know. One weak link in Wally Gregg's alibi was the girl, Claire Wallace. After we had questioned her closely for several days, she came to an important decision.
I figured I'd better tell the FBI the truth before I got into it too deep.
And the story you told me, all a lie?
Yeah. Honest, I haven't slept since then. I kept thinking about it and worrying until I almost went crazy.
You weren't with Wally Gregg that day.
Or any other day.
Why did you lie?
I was paid. Things have been tough. I thought it was some easy money. It was the hardest of my life. I didn't spend a cent of it. It's still home in my drawer. I'm going to put it in an envelope and mail it back.
To Gregg?
No, he didn't give it to me.
What?
I never even met him. He was just described to me.
Who paid you?
I'd rather not tell. As long as you know the true story, does it make any difference?
It makes a great deal of difference, Miss Wallace.
You're afraid to tell, is that it?
Yeah. I heard what happens to people who talk too much. I heard about this girl last year who had acid thrown in her face.
We'll do everything to protect you.
Acid in her face?
I promise you'll never be revealed as our source.
Gee, I don't know.
What makes you think they won't cause you trouble anyway? Maybe they feel you know too much already.
I thought of that.
Well, then you're much better off telling us, aren't you? Miss Wallace?
His name is Dolan.
Dolan?
Charlie Dolan. He's the boss down in the 5th Ward. He's always making deals, fixing things.
Charlie Dolan.
Whenever anybody's in trouble or needs a special favor, they go to Charlie Dolan. He'll fix anything for a price. He's the one who paid me to lie, to alibi for Wally Gregg.
Did he tell you why he wanted an alibi for Gregg?
No, and I didn't ask. You're not supposed to ask Charlie Dolan questions.
Well, we will, when the time comes round. We still kept our aim on our prime target, Fred Dunkirk. Questioning Dolan could wait. Having no other course, we hoped he would eventually lead us to Dunkirk, so we kept him under constant surveillance. Hello?
Wally, Mr. Dolan.
Oh, Wally, how are you?
Much better now.
I take that to mean you came round to my way of thinking.
That's right.
Good, then let's get it finished as soon as possible.
Fine with me. Tonight?
All right, you'll have the money.
You'll be here at my place at 10. I'll have it.
Come in, Mr. Dolan. You're right on time.
It's a habit of mine. Money, you have it here.
I said I would, didn't I?
Just wanted to be sure.
Can I fix you a drink?
Later, business first.
That's the way I feel about it.
What?
Business first. Always.
Fred.
I know it isn't polite to point, especially with a gun.
Now, look, Fred.
Wally, I think he's curious about how I happen to be invited to this party. You're the host. You tell him.
I invited him, Mr. Dolan.
Ma Fergus couldn't make it. She's with her chickens in one of the coops.
Look, Fred, I don't know what he told you.
He told me everything. That's what friends are for. Help each other.
Why don't you listen to my side of the story before you do anything hasty?
What I'm going to do isn't hasty. I gave it a lot of thought on the way into town. You and I, Dolan, are going for a ride in the country. Only one of us isn't coming back. Guess which one? Okay, Wally, open the door.
Dunkirk and Dolan didn't get much farther than the door. Agent Reynolds and I were waiting just a few feet down the hall. Ma Fergus was found later unconscious in one of her chicken coops. She was tried separately for knowingly harboring a criminal. Because of his past record, Fred Dunkirk's punishment was a foregone conclusion. He is now serving a life sentence. Wally Gregg and Charlie Dolan were given sentences in proportion to their part in the crime which attempted to dodge justice by using the fixer.
In tonight's story, Bill Zucker played the part of Fred Dunkirk. Harold Huber was Charlie Dolan. This radio dramatization for the FBI in Peace and War was written by Ed Adamson. These programs are produced and directed by Betty Mandeville. All names and characters used on the program are fictitious. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. This program is based upon Frederick L. Collins' copyrighted book, The FBI in Peace and War, and the broadcast does not imply endorsement, authorization, or approval by the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
"73 years ago, the FBI in Peace and War" here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, Gangbusters.
There's a price tag on almost everything. Whether you drive a shiny new 1952 model or a pre-war jalopy, you had to pay the price. And when you're driving that car, remember that speed also has its price. The price tag on speed violations last year was 15,000 killed and 500,000 injured. This year, thousands of lives can be saved if you and millions of other motorists come to the sober realization that speed is the biggest killer on the highways and resolve to slow down before you or someone else pays the price that must be paid for it. You can do your part by keeping within speed limits. At all times, drive as though your life depends on it. It does.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Gangbusters from 68 years ago, December 28th, 1955, the case of the New Jersey Yegg Man.
Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories. Tonight, Gangbusters presents the case of the New Jersey trio, whose nocturnal audacity netted them a fortune, until one misstep before dark shed light on a dozen 50-cent pieces.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable John B. Keenan, Commissioner of Public Safety of the City of Newark, New Jersey, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Commissioner Keenan.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Suppose we begin tonight's case in the city of Newark, New Jersey, just a little over a year ago. It was 7:30 on a bright sunny morning when a big hulk of a man stepped as lightly as he could toward the door of his attic flat on Milford Avenue. He stopped when he reached it, listened for a moment, then took out his keys.
Mary Jo. Mary Jo.
Get out of here.
Hey, now, sweetheart, baby.
I told you to get out of here. The next one's going to hit you.
Baby, doll, now don't get your feathers up.
Leaving me sitting in a bar all night alone, practically, waiting for you to show up. I ought to scratch your eyes out.
I was working, baby.
I don't care what you were doing. You were supposed to meet me. I've never so embarrassed in all my life.
Baby, doll, it was a last-minute deal. We were sitting around, and Yak says, come on, fellas, I got just the thing for tonight.
Yak says this, Yak says that. Yakety, yakety, yakety.
Honest, Mary Jo, that's just the way it was. I couldn't get near a phone.
They got phones and airplanes nowadays, and you got nerve enough to tell me on dry land you can't get near a phone.
Baby, doll, look, how much dough did I have last night? $50, $100? Tops, $100. Well, look at this. Does this look like $100?
Blue, honey. Blue, that's a fortune.
You see, didn't I tell you I was working? Where would I get all this scratch if I wasn't working?
Okay, I believe you. Come on, give.
Oh, Mary Jo.
Give, Blue.
Baby doll, a man's got to have money in his pocket.
Give.
Yeah, give. All I do around here is give. Here. But I had 100 to start, at least 100.
20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100. There's your 100.
Thanks. I work all night, and what do I get for nothing?
I'm putting it away for a rainy day. You sure Yak gave you all that was coming to you?
What's the matter? Ain't that enough for you?
I don't trust that Yak, you know. And you're just stupid enough he could give you a short count.
Listen, Tony and me were right there when it was counted out. And who's stupid?
You are. You got a strong back, but a gimpy head. I'll bet you were looking out the window when Tony took the money out of the safe.
I was not. There wasn't no windows. The place was air-conditioned.
Yak and Tony are a couple of slick operators, Blue. You gotta watch them.
Now, listen, nobody can put anything over on me. Now, look, baby doll, it was some job getting that safe open. I'm starved. Have you got a little breakfast laying around?
I have not.
Oh, baby doll.
You got your clothes on? Run down to the diner.
Look, make breakfast, and I got a present for you.
Yeah? What kind of a present?
Will you make breakfast?
Let's see the present.
All right. Here, I got 12 of them.
What's that? Counterfeit?
It is not. That's a good American $50.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Sounds okay.
Only Yak says they're worth $5 apiece.
Oh, who'd be crazy enough to give $5 for a 50-cent piece?
Yak says they're collector's items from the Columbus expedition. They didn't make very many of them, so they're worth $5 apiece. There was 36 of them in the safe. We each got 12.
All right. Let's have.
Will you make breakfast?
Let's have, Blue.
Yeah. Hey, baby doll. Tony says he's going to keep his good luck charms, he said.
Good luck charms? Oh, 50-cent piece is worth $5. That's a twist.
Well, maybe it's inflation or something.
Maybe. All right. Come on in the kitchen.
Thanks, baby doll. I'm starved. Really starved.
Lieutenant Flynn, Bandit Squad.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant O'Byrne.
What did it look like, Tom?
Like a safe job ought to look. They pushed in a back door, went upstairs to the office, knocked the combination off the safe, jimmied it open, and got at the cash.
Uh-huh.
It was a pretty hefty box. Lieutenant must have taken him a good part of the night.
How much was in it?
Well, I haven't figured it up exactly yet. Somewhere around $1,400, $1,500.
All they took was the cash, huh?
Yep, all cash, Lieutenant. But there's one item of cash that might help us.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Well, the office manager collects coins. He brought 36, let's see, Columbian Exposition commemorative $50 to the office the other day. Somebody wanted to buy them, so he stuck them in the safe. Well, they're missing with the rest of the cash.
Now, those $50 are a pretty rare item?
Rare enough, he says, especially 36 of them in one lot.
Yeah. That might help, Tom.
And the office manager's got a list of collectors and dealers and that sort of stuff.
Good. Bring it in. We'll get in touch with all those dealers and ask them to be on the lookout for a flock of those $50.
Now, listen, Yak, I can't ride around all night. I gotta meet Mary Jo.
What are you worried about, Blue? Let her wait.
Let her wait? You don't know Mary Jo. Tell him, Tony. Tell him how she is.
What's the matter, Blue? You're big enough to handle that twist. Mary Jo, she gets sore. You apologize. You give her a kick in the face.
Guy's got no sympathy.
There it is, across the street.
You mean the restaurant?
Yeah. The office is on the second floor.
Uh-huh.
My information is every night 2 big sacks of dough go upstairs and into the safe.
Yeah.
They take them to the bank in the morning.
Are you sure they ain't got no burglar alarm?
I'm positive.
Yeah? What makes you so positive, Jack?
Well, they figure they don't need it.
What do they figure? They're immune or something?
Why spend the dough for protection when there's a police station just down the block?
Yeah, but how do we... Police station? Where?
Look down the street.
Now, wait a minute, Jack. Don't you think the joint's just a little risky? Police station, it ain't 50 yards from the place.
And there's cops coming and going all night.
That safe is loaded.
Maybe so. But I want to know, can we make it?
I don't think we can make it. Not with the police station so close.
Listen, Blue, you just use the muscles, huh? Now, we'll have to work fast and quiet, but I think we'll be okay.
For when?
What's the matter with tonight? After the place closes?
Why not? I got it with me, my good luck charms.
Hey, fellas, not tonight. I promised Mary Jo a good time. She's getting all dressed up.
Have your good time some other night.
Guys.
Listen, Blue, wife or no wife, when we got a deal going, nothing interferes. We work good together. I don't want no outside influences influencing the operation. It's set for tonight. Well, we'll drive around town a while until they get the joint shut up.
Why do you guys always make me trouble?
We'll stop someplace, Blue. Get the lady on the telephone. Tell her you're going to be busy.
Tell her I'm going to be busy.
Sure, Blue. Why should those two care? Have Jack and Tony got wives waiting someplace for them?
Now, baby doll.
Leaving me sitting and waiting again. Ooh, just wait till I see.
Listen, Mary Jo.
What's it have to be tonight for? There's 7 nights in a week. Why tonight?
Baby doll, Yak wants to do it tonight. Yak says there might be 10 grand in that safe. He thinks there's a good chance.
10 grand?
Yeah, Yak says so, maybe.
Well, Blue, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to go out tonight. I'm kind of sleepy anyway. We can make it tomorrow night.
Oh, that's good, baby doll.
But you be sure and see that those 2 monkeys don't give you a short count.
They won't.
And bring it all home. Every penny.
Okay, make it fast, Tony. Get in the doorway.
Yeah.
Now, let's get that door open.
I think maybe with the back door it would be safer, Yak.
Safer, maybe, but the front is easier. Go on, make snappy.
Yeah. I don't like working on the sidewalk practically either.
Get it under the lock.
I'm doing okay. Let me handle it. Okay, just a few.
Hold it. What? Couple of guys.
Cops?
I don't know. Stand close against the wall.
Yeah.
I take my car down here. The guy looks it over top to the bottom under the hood. He examines your post, and I ask him, wait a minute. Have you got a light? And I ask him how much will he give me in a trade. Thanks. So? Oh, he says 1,100. 1,100 I can back it. You know what they're putting in this town? I can't let go for 1,100. How much for a part?
Those $half, they was good luck, huh?
Get to work on the door.
You think they were cops?
What difference does it make? They walked by, didn't they? Get it open.
That police station, she's awful close.
You'll be inside if you don't get that door open.
Yeah, there it is.
Good, Tony. Go on, you get upstairs and start to look around. I'll go to the car and get Blue to bring the tool.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, this gang of safe burglars, led by the daring James Yak Denter, had broken into a darkened restaurant not 50 yards from Newark's 2nd Precinct Police Station. Before the night was over, a 500-pound safe gave them the fright of their lives.
And here again is tonight's narrator, Commissioner John B. Keenan.
Well, this gang of burglars found that breaking into a restaurant not 50 yards from a Newark, New Jersey police station was not so difficult as opening the safe upstairs on the 2nd floor. They had been at it for nearly 2 hours and were still working hard.
All right, Blue. Tony's got it set in there. Lay on it with the sledge again.
Okay.
Again.
Brother.
Hold it just a second.
Well, Tony, what do you say?
You don't budge, Yak.
Listen, Yak, maybe we ought to give it up. We're making plenty of noise here for 2 hours and with the cops right next door, practically.
How about it, Tony? Can you get it open or can't you?
With these tools? No.
I think we better get out of here.
That's a good idea, Yak.
We'll get out, but we'll take the safe with us.
Take it with us?
Sure, why not?
Oh, no, not me.
What's the matter? This thing should only weigh about 500 pounds. We carry out bigger boxes than this.
Yeah, but not down a flight of stairs like that, and not with the police department for neighbors.
I'm not passing up this kind of dough. We'll take the safe out with us. Tony, go turn the car around. Pull it up in front of the door downstairs.
Okay, Yak, right away.
Well, thank goodness this thing's on rollers anyway. That makes it a little easier. Come on, Blue, let's push him.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Yak.
Yeah.
How we gonna get it down all those stairs?
We'll get it down.
Yeah? And the cops. Suppose some of them will walk into the station house or drive.
We'll be all right. Okay, hold it here. Now, let me figure this out.
You know, that's an awful big thing to get down those stairs, Yak.
Yeah, I know. We can't carry it down, that's a cinch.
Do you really think there's that much dough in there?
Yeah. What are you going to do with yours? Step at a time, I guess.
Oh, I don't know. Give it to Mary Jo, I guess.
You're kidding. Not all of it.
Yeah, she saves it for a rainy day, she says. She takes every penny. Listen, we ain't got all night. How are we going to get that safe downstairs?
I'll push it from the back. You support it. We'll let the wheels and back rest on each step, see?
Yeah.
You hold the front of it. I'll get front of it.
Okay. Push. I got a hold.
All right. Okay?
Yeah, but I don't know how long it'll be okay.
What are you worried? We only got 20 steps to go. Get set.
Okay, push.
All right.
I can't hold it on to this ball. Grab it, Jack. Grab it. Help me.
Okay, don't get excited. Hold on.
I can't. Holy jump. Right out the front door.
Come on, fast.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
At least we get that thing downstairs.
The cops will be here fast. It's sitting right out in the middle of the sidewalk.
Step right through the door, but watch your fire.
Yeah, watch. Come on, Philip, hurry. Get in the car. Let's get out of here, Tom.
Safe goes with us.
Yeah.
No problem. She lands on the wheels. Push it. Go on. Let's go. Let's go. Over the back, Tony.
Yeah.
All right. Three of us together. Left to right. Right. Up. Come on.
It's no good. It's no good.
Tony, get the car and pull one with us.
Yeah, sure. Okay, come on.
All right. Lay on it. Roll.
Come on. Come on, guys. Come on. Push him. That's it. A little more. Okay.
Let's go.
Here comes a couple of cops, I think. Walking.
Come on, get in.
Oh, three of those cops.
They're walking up on us, Jack.
Oh, brother.
What's the matter? Get out.
They're coming, Yak. They're coming. Get it started. Yeah, come on. Oh, wow.
Oh, Lieutenant. Yes, Tom? The bookkeeper upstairs just finished a preliminary count on what was in the safe. How much? A little over 6,000. What a haul. Yeah, not bad for a night's work. Any sign of fingerprints up there? No, not a thing. Nothing except the tools. They won't help us much. The safe must have come down those stairs with some force. That's how it knocked the door frame clean out. Yeah, must have sounded like an earthquake. That's going to give us a little trouble, Tom. I know the papers are going to play up how close this thing was to the precinct house. These guys just had a lucky break. I bet there's a squad car or a couple of patrolmen pass this door on foot every 5 minutes all night long. That's not going to be any answer. The only answer will be to get them. Come on upstairs. I want another look at those tools they left.
Who is it? Blue?
No, it's Jack. Open up.
All right. Hello.
Where's Blue, Mary Jo?
Out someplace.
That's too bad, isn't it?
Not so bad.
No?
Sit down, Yak, and wait.
Why not?
Do you want something to drink?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
What?
You got a glass of milk?
Milk?
Yeah.
Oh, now you're kidding. I got rye, gin, beer.
I like milk.
Okay. You like milk?
Wait a minute, I'll go to the kitchen with you. What time did Blue say he'd be back?
He didn't say.
Oh, here, let me.
Oh, much obliged.
It's all right.
You know, I could wait 4 years for Blue to open the door for me. Well, how do you like that? We have got milk. You sure now?
Positive.
4 years I could wait.
Blue's not very bright, is he?
Well, no. But he's generous.
Yeah, so he tells me. Yeah, it's good and cold.
Blue is a very nice type of man to have around. Everything I want, I get.
I know. told me he gave you the whole $2,000 from the restaurant deal.
I'm saving it for a rainy day. Most everything he earns, I'm saving for a rainy day.
His rainy day, yours.
I don't understand.
I mean, are you waiting to get all you can from Blue and then fly someplace?
That's an insult.
What do I care what's between you and him?
All right. Yeah. I'm waiting to get all I can. Don't you think I earned it?
Maybe you did, Mary Jo.
I'll say I did. Now, what's the real reason you're here?
To see Blue?
Is that so? Blue told me you sent him downtown for something.
Is that so?
You bet that's so.
You know, you're a pretty cute kid.
Do you really think so?
I said so, didn't I?
You want some more milk?
No. No, thanks. I know my limit. Oh, before I forget it, when Blue gets back, tell him we got a little deal on tonight. Tell him to meet Tony and me at the usual place. Paul's in the booth there, Mary Jo.
Thanks. Oh, I could kill him. Murder him. But murder him. What is it, Blue?
Listen, Mary Jo.
Don't you know this is Saturday night and I'm in a tavern trying to have a good time because you don't have the decency to take your own wife out like a gentleman?
But, Mary
So
Jo...
what's the idea of disturbing me?
Now, listen, baby doll. We were out on a job. Tony stuck his hand through a window in the alley trying to get in the supermarket. He cut himself pretty bad.
So, what do you want me to do about it? Take him to a doctor.
Well, Yak says he can't go to a doctor. Yak wants you to fix Tony up.
Oh. Oh, he does, huh?
Yeah, baby doll. Will you, please?
All right. Bring him to the flat. I'll meet you there.
Oh, Mary Jo, that's great. I'll never forget.
Okay, bring him to the flat before he dies.
Get me one more drink, will you, Blue?
Hold still there, Tony. How do you expect me to get you bandaged up if you're squirming? Tell him to hold still, Yak.
Okay, I hold still.
It don't look as bad as I thought, Tony.
Don't look good to me.
What do you know?
I wouldn't have cut myself this way except my good luck charms. I lose them someplace.
Huh, those $5 half dollars, huh? Well, there you are. As good as new.
Now could I have one more drink?
Yeah, if...
I'll get it. I could use one myself. Anybody else?
I'll go with you. Have a glass of milk.
Sure, Yak. We're loaded with milk. Help yourself.
Thanks. Say, Mary Jo.
Yeah?
You think you can get away from Blue for a while tomorrow afternoon?
I don't know. Why?
Oh, no reason. I just thought you'd like to do a little Sunday driving with me.
Why, Yak, I love it.
Okay. Pick you up about 2 o'clock.
Lieutenant Flynn.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant Tom O'Byrne.
Yeah, Tom?
Listen, maybe we got a break. The 3rd Precinct desk sergeant just called me. A kid walked into the station house with 12 of those Columbia Exposition half dollars.
Where'd he get them?
Well, he was on his way to Sunday school and found them in an alley behind a supermarket out there. They were all in a little chamois bag.
Behind a supermarket?
That's what the kid said.
Was the supermarket broken into last night?
Oh, we got no report of it, Lieutenant. They're not open today.
Well, meet me down at the garage. We'll run out there and take a look around. Right now.
Okay, Mary Jo. We can get rolling again.
Well, this has certainly been a fine Sunday afternoon ride. I thought you were going to take me out in the country for dinner or someplace.
I like to ride around in town, Mary Jo.
And what was the idea of stopping here and getting out for a walk around the grocery store and leaving me sit in the car?
I had to look at something in back of the supermarket.
What kind of a good time do you call that? And all the trouble I went through to get away from Blue.
I'll tell you what, Mary Jo. I'll take it back to him right now.
Oh, now you're going to do me a favor.
No. I'm going to do Blue a favor.
Well, this supermarket won't be no trouble now. We did most of the work last night.
Yeah, Tony, and I found something of yours right under the window here this afternoon. Yeah.
My lucky charms. I must have dropped them last night.
Come on, guys, let's get inside. What are we standing here talking?
Okay. Here you go up, Tony. Boost them up, Blue.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you get through?
Yeah, I can see it. Okay.
We'll go around front. Open the door for us. Come on, Blue.
Yeah. You sure are smart, Yak. Riding by here this afternoon with Mary Jo and taking a look.
The neighborhood's empty on Sunday. There's a good chance nobody even found what we did last night, so I thought I'd say.
Yeah, that is smart. I thought all that work last night was down the drain.
Nothing's ever down the drain with me, Blue. And, I want to give you a piece of advice.
Yeah? What?
I've been learning a few things about Mary Jo.
Yeah? Ain't she a sweet kid?
Like I said, we're a good combination. I don't want anything to happen to her.
Oh, nothing will.
Get all your dough back from Mary Jo, then throw her out.
Throw her out? But, Jack...
She's fixing to leave you, so you might as well beat it to the draw. It's Tony. Come on.
Listen, Jack, what are you talking
Just do what I tell you.
Yeah, but...
Go on, get in.
Welcome, gentlemen. All right, get him up, both of you.
No, not me, you don't.
He's got a gun.
Okay, here it is. Here's the gun. Don't shoot.
The next one will be right at you. Now, all of you, keep them up.
Okay, I'm through, believe me.
You're through, all right. Now, go on. Get over against that wall with your partner, both of you. Go on. Move. Against the wall. Go on.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, Newark detectives, after discovering evidence of an attempted burglary, reasoned the safecrackers might return to finish the job. So they planted the Columbian half-dollars where they were left and waited for the burglars to show up again. James Yak Denta received a maximum sentence of 28 years and Tony Palumbo 21 years in New Jersey State Prison. Their accomplices received lesser terms.
Thank you, Commissioner John B. Keenan, for this most interesting case history. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the officers of the Newark Police Department who participated in the investigation leading to the arrests and convictions. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Ness and directed by William Sweets, with Ann Thomas and Ralph Bell in leading roles. Roger Foster speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
68 years ago, December 28, 1955, Gangbusters here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll wrap up this 2-hour block with an episode of Mr. District Attorney coming up next. But first...
Our religious institutions are strongholds of the American way of life. Our country was founded by men who had faith in God and who were willing to endure hardship and sacrifice for the sake of that faith. Today, the religious institutions in your community need your interest and support, so take an active part in religious affairs. Your pastor, rabbi, or priest will give you invaluable family counsel and aid if you are a newcomer to the community. To face the problems of the future, America must be morally strong. And that moral strength comes through worship and faith. Go to church this week and take someone with you.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, David Bryan in the final season of shows of Mr. District Attorney, syndicated and aired on this date in December 28, 1952. 72 years ago, the case of the vanishing runner.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
And now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A district attorney must see people through different eyes than others. The man who passes on the street may be a criminal wanted for prosecution, or he may be an innocent man who will one day find himself enmeshed in the law by a chain of circumstance. To tell them apart is the function of justice. This case started on a lonely road on the outskirts of town.
How is he, Francine?
He's still out, Rocky. You hit him awful hard.
Well, what'd you expect for $93,000? A love tap?
Well, he isn't just another gambler who can't go to the law. He's an important man. He'll make trouble.
Yeah. For who? An undertaker?
Rocky, you're not gonna...
Yeah, I'm gonna. What do you want me to do? Wake him up, tell him I'm sorry, give the dough back to him?
He won it.
Suckers ain't supposed to win. I run that game for me to win, one way or another. Yeah, this place is as good as any.
Rocky, I'm scared.
Oh, you just shut your mouth and help me get him out, will you?
Rocky, please.
So help me, Francine. One more bleed out of you and I'll shove the muzzle of this gun down your throat and pull the trigger. Now, you going to help me get him out, or you want me to drag you out with him?
Don't hurt me, Rocky. I'll help you.
That's better. Come on. Let's solve, will you? That's it. That's better. All right. Can you hear anything coming?
How could I hear anything in this rain?
That's good. Nobody else will hear anything either. Well, goodbye, Mr. Ferguson. Too bad you got so lucky.
In here, Ryan.
I wish you'd tell me what this is all about, Mr. Harrington.
District Attorney will tell you. Morning, Miss Miller.
Good morning, Harrington.
Chief in?
Yes?
This is Joe Ryan, the cab driver we've been looking for. Well, you better tell him. Yes, Miss Miller?
Harrington's here, Mr. Garrett. He has a Joe Ryan with him.
Well, send him in.
Yes, sir.
All right, through here, Ryan. You've been a little difficult to find, Mr. Ryan. We've been looking for you for 4 days.
I didn't know that till this morning.
Are you in the habit of taking 4-day vacations from driving your cab?
No, sir. I took the time off because I've been looking for a good buy on a new cab.
Why didn't you register a change of address with the Motor Vehicle Bureau when you moved a couple of months ago?
I forgot, that's all.
Well, you know that's a violation, don't you?
Yes, sir, but... Look, is that why you picked me up?
No, that isn't why. 4 nights ago, Ryan, just before you took this unusual vacation, you picked up a fare outside the Chelsea Club. Just a few minutes before midnight. Remember?
Ah, so that's it.
What did you expect it to be? Story of the murder's been in all the papers.
I know it.
You picked up a fare who was found murdered the next morning, and you know about it. But you don't get in touch with the police. Why?
Why should I? I don't know nothing about it. I picked the man up and I drove him home.
His body was found out on Pendleton Road.
What's that got to do with me? I took him home. Look, if you think I had anything to do with this, you're sending your dogs on the wrong trail.
Are we? Do you know we impounded your cab at the garage?
No, I didn't know it. I haven't been near the garage.
Maybe you should have been. Police lab crews gave the cab a going over. This is their report. Like me to read it to you?
I'd like anything that'd help to clear this up, yeah.
According to this report, Ryan, there were bloodstains on the back seat and the floor mat of your cab. Type O. The report also states that John Ferguson's blood was type O.
Now, what's that prove? Lots of people have type O blood.
You've been reading up on the subject?
I don't have to read up. I was in the medics in the service. I got type O blood myself.
You trying to tell us it was your own blood on that back seat?
No, a guy got hurt in my cab.
When?
Why, it was the same night I picked Mr. Ferguson up at the Chelsea Club. Look, I've driven Mr. Ferguson lots of times.
Yeah, we know. The doorman told us. That's what started us looking for you. Who got hurt in your cab?
I don't know who he was. Can I tell you about it, about how it happened?
Oh, that's why you're here.
All right. Well, it was after I dropped Mr. Ferguson off. I picked up these 6 guys. They were wearing those hats, you know, the convention that was in town last week.
Shriners?
Yeah, that's right. Well, there were 6 of them. And, brother, was it raining. They flagged me down. I don't usually take 6, but, well, with the weather and everything, I packed them in.
Then what?
Well, like I said, it was raining cats and dogs. They wanted to go to Savern Plaza. I took the freeway in. Some guy cut in front of me at Montrose turnoff, and I had to go for the brakes. The road was wet, and I went into a skid. Threw him around a little bit in the back seat. One of the guys in the drop seat bumped something, got a nosebleed. That's it. That's the whole story. Look, you gotta believe me about this.
Ryan, Just before he left the Chelsea Club, Howard Ferguson cashed a check for $2,000. That was at midnight. You say you drove him home, but his body is found the next morning out on Pendleton Road without a cent on him.
And we find you out shopping for a new cab.
And it doesn't look good, Ryan.
I don't care how it looks.
Where'd you get the money for the new cab?
I won it.
Won it where?
Well, I won it a couple of months ago, just before I moved. That's where I got the dough to move.
What do you mean by won?
Oh, the guys around the garage. We used to play the numbers. You know, the numbers racket.
And you won?
Yes, I won.
Then you won on $1 million in that sucker racket.
I know it, but that's where I got the dough. I spent part of it moving, and I was holding the rest until now to buy a new cab when the new models came out. They came out day before yesterday.
Uh-huh.
That's where the dough come from. Honest it is.
Okay. Then there's only one other thing you have to tell us about. Who sold you the numbers?
A guy named Willie Lamont.
Where can we find him?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Well, he hasn't been around the garage in a couple of months. All of a sudden, he just stopped coming around.
Can any of the other cab drivers verify that you won that money?
No, I never told any of them.
Ryan, your story is pretty thin.
You can prove the part about the blood, can't you? Find the 6 guys I picked up.
Almost 40,000 of them come in for the convention from every state in the country. The convention ended yesterday.
Our chances of finding them might have been good while they were still in town.
Yeah, but we couldn't find you until this morning. And you didn't come in on your own.
I swear to you, I took Ferguson home.
Then how did his body get out on the Pendleton Road?
Wait a minute. I just remembered something.
You better remember for your own good.
What is it, Ryan?
Wait a minute. When I took him home, there's a big circular driveway at his place. Well, there was a car in front of the house when I let him out. I passed right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of people in the car. It was a limousine.
Why didn't you mention this before?
Well, I didn't think of it. I figured they were waiting to get into the house.
You didn't wait to find out?
No, I collected my fare in blue.
Ryan, nobody saw that car except you.
Servants didn't see anything. They didn't even hear your cab, Ryan.
It was raining so hard, the rain kept them from hearing.
Well, that could be one explanation.
What other explanation could there be?
The one that all the evidence seems to point to. Ryan, you never took Ferguson home.
This is a frame.
Take it easy.
It's a frame. Mr. Ferguson was a big shot, so you got to pin this on somebody in a hurry. And I'm the patsy, ain't I? It's a frame, ain't it? No matter what I tell you.
Everything you said will be checked, Ryan. Every single point. If you're innocent, I want to know it. I have no choice but to hold you.
I know.
Take him over to the county jail and book him, Harrington. Then come back and meet me in the record room.
Okay, Chief. Come on, Ryan.
Miss Miller?
Yes, Mr. Garrett.
Call the county sheriff's office. Vice squad detail. Ask for Sergeant Payne.
Sergeant Payne. Yes, sir.
Tell him I'd like him to come over and meet me in the record bureau.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Chief.
Get Ryan booked all right?
Yep. Well, what'd you think of his story?
Weak, but it has possibilities.
Like what?
This, for instance. There's a petty gambler named Willie Lamond. 3 times arrested as a runner for various bookies. Always the same charge. Taking bets on the numbers racket.
Yeah, but those arrests are all dated before you convinced the state legislature that gambling ought to be a felony.
He's probably been more careful since then. Gamblers are hard to put out of business.
No regular joints operating.
No, but there are floating places. And runners like Willie Lamond picking up bets.
Well, can't be much of it.
More than you think. I've had somebody on the sheriff's vice squad working on a report.
Oh, who?
Young sergeant. His name is Ed Payne. He's on his way over now. I thought he might be able to give us some information on Willie Lamond.
Look, couldn't I have handled this gambling report?
You're too well known to the professionals, Harrington. I need a young man who could work right in with them undercover. Payne's well qualified, fresh out of Army intelligence and a comparative stranger in town.
Oh.
Don't worry. You'll be there when we have a complete report and the time comes from the crackdown.
Chief, even if we do find this Willie Lamond, he's not going to stick his neck out to help Ryan. He won't admit taking that bet.
We'll have to find a way to make him admit it. Without Lamond's testimony, Ryan will be a cinch for conviction.
Oh, Chief, there's a fellow over there looking around.
Oh, that's Ed Payne. Over here, Sergeant.
Hi, Mr. Garrett. The secretary said you wanted to see me.
Yes. Sergeant Payne, this is my assistant, Harrington.
Hello, Sergeant.
Glad to know you. Heard a lot about you.
There's somebody else I hope you've heard a lot about, Payne. A bookmaker's runner named Willie Lamont. He's still operating?
Uh-huh. Left town a couple of months ago. Went to Chicago.
Oh, that's rough.
It's all right. We can extradite him if we have to.
That might not be too easy, Mr. Garrett.
Why not?
There's been some talk about him since he's been gone. They say he got ambitious in Chicago. Word got around that he was holding out some bets on his new boss. And also slipping in a phony win or two to turn himself a dishonest dollar. The boss got wise to it.
You mean Lamont is on the run again? I need him badly as a witness.
Mr. Garrett, you know how the mobs are. If you want my opinion, Willie Lamont isn't on the run. He's standing still. Somewhere on the bottom of Lake Michigan, wearing a pair of cement shoes.
And now back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
A prominent citizen had been murdered, and a cab driver, surrounded by a mesh of circumstantial evidence, had been taken into custody. We needed a small-time gambler to verify the cab driver's alibi. But the underworld grapevine indicated that the only possible witness was dead. For 2 days, I had Harrington and Sergeant Payne of the Sheriff's Vice Squad check on every possible source of additional information. Haven't you been able to locate Harrington yet, Miss Miller?
Yes, sir. Basement garage called. He just drove in. He's on his way up now.
Oh.
You don't look well today.
Well, I had to get a grand jury indictment against Ryan this morning. It isn't a very pleasant prospect.
Well, it's not your... Oh, well, here's Harrington now.
Yeah, sorry he's gone so long, Chief. But I ran into some pretty funny things.
What?
This Howard Ferguson was having an awful lot of trouble before he was killed.
And what kind of trouble?
Well, believe it or not, financial.
Howard Ferguson?
Yeah, that's right. Here. Here's a complete rundown. He was draining money away from his business investments and putting it into his personal account, stalling his creditors. A few of them even had him on a COD basis. And a couple of other things, too. He was a...
excuse me. Am I interrupting?
No, it's all right, Payne. Come in.
Answer just came in from Chicago. No line on Willie Lamont.
Well, I guess the scuttlebutt you heard was right, then. Go ahead, Harrington.
That $2,000 check wasn't unusual. Ferguson had been cashing checks for that amount or more a couple of nights a week.
What would he need it for?
Only one thing I can think of, Mr. Garrett.
Gambling?
Only kind of business I can think of where a lot of money changes hands in the middle of the night.
Payne, when players go to one of these floating games you've been looking into, how are they notified where the game is going to be held?
Well, they aren't notified. A slip-up could lead to a raid. They don't tell the customers where to go. They come and pick them up in a limousine.
Limousine? Chief, Ryan said there was a limousine parked in Ferguson's driveway the night he drove him home.
Gamblers wouldn't have killed Ferguson for $2,000, though. They had an easier way to take the money away from him.
Unless he won.
Yes.
If a man got lucky in a big money game, he might win 50 or 100,000 with a hot pair of dice.
That's enough for a killing.
No, I'm not in, Miss Miller.
Yes, sir. Hello? It's the Holloway Bank and Trust for Harrington.
Oh, that's Ferguson's bank, Chief. They were checking something for me.
I better take it.
Hello? Miss Harrington. Yep. What's that name again? No. First name. Spell it. F-R... Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got it. Thanks. Thanks, Miss Miller. Ferguson had been writing some other big checks made out to cash, in addition to the one he cashed at the Chelsea Club. The bank says the others were endorsed by a Francine DeVoe.
Francine DeVoe. Mr. Garrett, can I call the record room for a minute?
Go ahead. Get it for him, Miss Miller.
You got a match, Payne?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thanks.
Sure will.
Record room? Just a second.
Thanks. Hello, Mike. Ed Payne. You still got that Willie Lamont folder you pulled for me? No, his wife's maiden name. Yeah, Mike, plenty. Thanks a lot. That's something, Mr. Garrett. Francine DeVoe, alias Francine Lamond. She was Willie Lamond's wife. I heard about it when I was trying to get a rundown on Lamond.
How come she didn't go to Chicago with him?
She divorced Willie a couple of years ago. Started to run around with the big-time gamblers, working for boys like Rocky Jessup.
Oh, what do you mean by working for them?
Bait. A shill. Stirring suckers to their games.
Men like Ferguson?
He cashed an awful lot of checks.
Can you find out where Rocky Jessup is holding his next game?
No, I could find out, but I couldn't get in.
Why not? You've been making contact.
Yeah, as a small-time gambler. I've never flashed the kind of money they're interested in. And if I did flash it all of a sudden, they might get curious.
Well, suppose you called up and said you had a wealthy customer, somebody you'd steer to the game for a percentage.
Yeah, that could work. But who? You or Harrington, they might know.
How about me?
Oh, please.
No, wait a minute, Harrington. How about it, Payne?
Well, could be good. Wealthy young woman from out of town looking for kicks.
Hey, I was only joking, Mr. Garrett.
Well, I wasn't.
I'd be scared silly.
They won't try anything inside the place. There'll be other people. Anything they do will be outside. And when you come outside, we'll be waiting.
But I won't know how to act or what to say.
Oh, we'll tell you. But first, take this.
$100? What would I...
Go to a costume rental place. Rent an evening gown, the best they have, and a fur wrap. Buy some good-looking costume jewelry. You drive it, Harrington.
But...
Come on, Cinderella.
You know what I want you to do, don't you, Payne?
I think so. After we get in, ask questions. Make them suspect I'm a cop.
That's right. Maybe if you tip your hand, they'll tip theirs. Now call Rocky Jessup and arrange for the pickup.
I'm scared, Payne.
Do you like a little action, huh, Miss Miller?
Yes, I think gambling's very exciting.
Well, I run a good game. You'll like it. What's your poison?
I beg your pardon? I can't hear you too well back here.
No, I said, what do you like? The wheel, bone, spaceboard?
Roulette, Rocky. She likes the wheel.
Oh, good. You'll be happy that Payne suggested my place to you. Payne tells me you're from out of town.
Yeah, that's right. Cleveland.
Family and business there?
Yes, they have a chain of grocery stores.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, people gotta eat.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said that's right, Mr. Jessup.
Oh, just call me Rocky, huh? But don't let the name fool you. I'm really a soft guy. Payne will tell you.
Rocky's tops, Miss Miller.
I don't see any particular car following us, Payne.
The working relays on the radio car set that one turns off, another one turns in behind it.
Did you say something, Payne?
Just telling Miss Miller about the percentages in the game. Odds, law of averages.
Yeah. You want to listen to him, Miss Miller. This boy knows the score. You might make a killing tonight. Well, here we are. Target for the night.
Well, what kind of a place is this?
Oh, don't be scared. This is just an abandoned airplane hangar. Used to be an airfield here and a flying school. There's no use letting the building go to waste, huh?
You sure know how to pick the spots, Rocky.
Yeah, and you sure know how to pick the dolls. Well, come on, Miss Miller. Thinking you're liable to cost me some money tonight. Nobody's going to be looking at the dice with you around. Just got to be careful, you know. All right, go ahead now, folks.
Dark.
Well, it'll be light as soon as we get through the other door.
Don't be afraid. Come on.
Hey, looks a little better than you thought, huh, Miss Miller?
It's surprising.
Well, all my customers go first class. Francine.
I'll be there in a second.
All righty. Francine's her hostess. She'll tell you where the action is. Oh, Francie, this is Miss Miller. She's from Cleveland, friend of Payne's. You know Payne, don't you?
I've seen him around. Francine. My uncle mentioned meeting a Francine the last time he was here on a visit. He likes to gamble, too. Is that so? What's your uncle's name? Miller. Same as mine. Robert Miller. I don't remember him. Well, it could have been another Francine, of course, but... Well, it is an unusual name. How long ago? Just about week ago. Yes, just the night before he came back to Cleveland.
I didn't run no game last week.
Uncle Bob said the game was in some kind of an old restaurant on Penderson Road, something like that.
No, Pendleton Road.
That wouldn't be our game. Would it, Rocky?
No, not out there.
Must have been somebody else, Miss Miller.
No, he said Francine. He said it was raining like blazes. Oh, yes. And some man won a lot of money. Practically broke the game. Uncle Bob was standing right next to him. His name was Ferguson.
Your uncle tells you things in detail, doesn't he?
You better show me what refreshments we got, Francine, huh? Payne and the lady can just drift around and look things over. Okay, Payne?
Oh, sure. Come on, Miss Miller. I'll show you the dice table.
I thought that same Mr. Ferguson might be here. If he was, I bet the way he bet.
I sure don't like this, Francine.
Neither do I. Why didn't you tell me Payne was coming?
Why?
Because he's the one who's been nosing around asking questions about Willie.
Well, we had nothing to do with what happened to Willie.
No, but we did with Ferguson, and he was asking questions like a cop.
Why would a cop steer a rich dame here?
Rich dame, nothing.
Huh?
Did you see the label in that fur jacket she's dragging around?
No.
Madame Pompadour Costume Rentals.
Get him over to the door.
Well, I...
Do like I tell you. You gotta get rid of him tonight and blow town, but fast. Now, go ahead.
Miss Miller.
Oh, we were just watching.
There's a much bigger game in another room around the side of the building. Rocky thought you and Mr. Payne would rather go in there.
Which way?
Well, we have to go outside first and then around.
Well, that sounds interesting, Miss Miller.
Yes. Oh, that dark place again.
It's only for a second.
All right, cop. You and this dame outside to the car. And no funny moves or I got a hole in my pocket and you got a hole in your back.
Do what they say, Miss Miller.
Where are you going to take us?
Same place we took Ferguson. And we're going to leave you the same way.
I wouldn't count on that,
Rocky.
You're covered every way. Don't move.
You dirty...
Down, Miss Miller.
Don't kill me. He's dead. Don't kill me, too.
Let me help you, Miss Miller.
Oh, thanks.
How is he hanging?
Rocky, he's not dead. He'll live to stand trial.
Well, I'll testify. I'll make a deal with you.
We don't need any deals, thank you. Take him in, Harrington. Payne?
Right, Chief.
Yes, Mr. Garrett.
Round up that crowd inside. They can do their gambling in a cell for the night. Come on, Miss Miller. I'll drive you home.
Thank you.
You're shaking. You scared?
Oh, Mr. Garrett, I just kept thinking when they were shooting, what could I ever tell a Madame Pompadour Costume Company if I brought back this fur jacket with a bullet hole in it?
What? Miss Miller, if I didn't hear it, I wouldn't believe it.
Oh, I shouldn't have expected a man to understand.
This is David Bryan. I hope you enjoyed this case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
Rocky Jessup was tried and convicted on a charge of murder in the first degree. The death penalty was mandatory. His accomplice, Francine DeVoe, alias Francine Lamont, was sentenced to the women's prison for 15 years. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.
71 years ago, December 28, 1952, Mr. District Attorney here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Tomorrow, another episode of Gangbusters, an episode of Dragnet, Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune, The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe starring Sidney Greenstreet, and Lum and Abner. That'll be on our next program for Friday. Have yourself a great Thursday, and we will be back tomorrow with another Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox podcast.